In a world where voices are silenced, one man refuses to lie down.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
He's been punted not once,
40 years they've been trying.
not twice,
You couldn't fire somebody if they were horrible, doing a terrible job.
but 3 times.
You're fired.
He doesn't tell you what to think, but gives you something to think about. Welcome to the Bonafide podcast with Luke Boner. And he's not
All right, here we go.
done
Hold your ears, folks.
yet.
It's showtime.
Well, look at this, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Gather round the fireplace for episode 99 of the Bonafide podcast. Last time we were talking about us, we were going to do a commercial quickie on the Man Cave, and we could have actually done a jingle around this. They said you'd never make it. Another Mojo commercial. Was it I feel like a Tooheys or two? I feel like a Tooheys. They said,
don't know.
They said you'd never make it. Find the jingle.
No.
Coming up, we're going to talk health issues with Dr. Philip Norrie. His bedside manner is something to be acquired, but he tells it like it is. And we'll talk about some serious health issues, including the new flu vaccine. We're also going to talk to Jonathan Kearsley, who was Sky News' Washington bureau chief, about what the hell is going on in America. What do you make? Donald Trump, one moment he's Jesus, next minute he's a doctor.
I don't know.
Now, the Strait of Hormuz, as at the recording time today, he said the strait's open, the blockade's off. Yesterday, he was saying you'll be smitten into nothingness, an everlasting night. And now there is another deadline on the ceasefire. Where's the guy's head? He's dealing with a poopy pope. The pope's got the poops with him.
Yeah.
The thing is, by the way, this is the world's first ever American pope. Why? I understand you don't have to make friends everywhere you go, but why go out of your way to make enemies?
I don't know. And you think that he would like this pope because he's the first American pope in like 2,000 years or something.
And remember, a huge proportion of the MAGA fan club,
It's a cult.
and a large majority of them are Catholic. We saw, was it a meme what on Instagram? What is it? The picture of Donald Trump dressed as Jesus healing someone with his hands.
Yeah.
He then quickly took it down and he said, "Oh no, I wasn't trying to be Jesus. I was going to be a doctor." They're the strangest scrubs I've ever seen, and not a stethoscope spotted.
Yes. Oh, it's like,
He wasn't even wearing gloves.
I know, it's like when a
He didn't
toddler's
have a mask on.
I know, it's like when a toddler's been caught in a lie. As I said, I'm over it. You can talk to Jonathan about it. I'm done with Trump.
I just can't get inside his head. They say that there are only really in this world 2 things that don't lie. One of them are dogs,
Yeah. Oh, they can be pretty mischievous.
but they don't lie.
Oh, they lie
Cats
with their
can.
actions.
Cats can. And the other one, of course, are yoga pants. They don't lie.
Okay, that's enough.
And the Man Cave is coming up with the Vice Captain, Adam McDonald from Evans Hastings, and our good friend Scotty Phillips from the Motley Fool.
We love the news. Something to think about. Something to laugh about.
A couple of things making headlines. Defence spending is going to increase by more than $53 billion over the forward estimates. And that's over the next decade, according to Richard Marles. $53 billion is a hell of a lot of money. We've already spent millions and millions of dollars on defence hardware that's going to be out of date by the time it's available. Now, the AUKUS agreement seemed really good on paper, but those submarines are going to be outdated by the time they're built and we use them.
That's like everything though, right? But apparently it's going to be $14 billion over the next 4 years. And I don't know, is that a sign that things, or is this long overdue, or is this like a sign of where we are in the world right now?
It's a sign, and we are here in the Pacific. America is our greatest defence ally, and they're not really happy with us at the moment. And is it time to take more of our defence into our own hands and become a bit more independent? There are arguments against an increase in defence spending. Number one, you're not spending the money on other things.
Yeah.
Education, health, other national priorities, infrastructure, So there's that argument. And, of course, the Department of Defence is seriously lacking in personnel. And there are arguments that the money should be spent on a recruiting campaign so that we have more boots, so that we have more people in the ADF. The problem isn't boats and submarines and guns and bombs and missiles. We just don't have personnel.
Yeah, but we also, drone warfare is like a big thing these days. Like you actually need money to invest in that, because if you're going up against boots on the ground versus drones in the sky, I'm pretty sure I know who's going to win.
Yeah, the drone defense strategy is amazing, and the Americans have seen it. With one warship carrying about 100 anti-drone missiles that cost about $1 million each. Each drone costs $20,000.
Yeah,
and you can launch thousands of them.
Oh yeah,
so
they're scary, those things. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it long overdue, or is it frivolous spending?
Should it be spent somewhere else, like the $20 million on how to save petrol?
Yeah.
Take your roof racks off.
Yeah.
Pump up your tyres.
Silly.
Catch a train.
We're not the target audience, Luke. Just remember that.
You can tell us about this story. This is a bit out there, and you found it overseas. It's about a British tourist who was swindled into paying £1,500, which is about $3,000, for a kebab.
Yes.
Now, this is clickbait. This is not a real story.
No. It happened.
It's Kearsley clickbait.
No, it happened.
What happened?
So an unsuspecting tourist was hit with an eye-watering £1,500 charge for a kebab on a hugely popular tourist beach. The scammer was arrested on the world-famous Copacabana beach in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, after he and another person allegedly changed the price on a payment terminal and overcharged the victim by a staggering amount. The Brit reportedly ended up paying £1,480 for the meaty treat that could have set her back just £15 normally. So the police said that the machine was allegedly tampered with and ended up charging the victim a much higher price.
Okay, I get it now. Yeah.
I wonder how it tasted.
It'd want to be very, very good. Can I just say something here? Back in our day, Kelsey, this is back in the days of black and white television. A cheap meal was fish and chips. Not anymore.
No, it's very expensive.
What's happened?
I think it depends. We're in Sydney, remember, and Sydney is overpriced anywhere and everywhere you go. So might just be us feeling this, but I don't know. It's like $20 now for a fish and chip meal. I
remember one of the downfalls of Eagle Boys Pizza, and a lot of the big pizza chains really struggled, like Pizza Hut, when Domino's decided they were going to sell family-sized pizzas for $5 each, but not home delivered. You had to pick it up.
Yeah.
And the franchises, the Domino's franchises, let alone the competition, said, how do you compete? You can't make that.
What was the pizza made out of to be sold for $5?
Cardboard and fresh air.
Yeah.
But anyway, what is a cheap takeaway meal now? A hamburger with a lot up here at that place up there is $12.50.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable, honestly.
Is it?
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
How
I
much?
mean, a McDonald's hamburger is like $12 these days.
But you know the tavern up the road?
Yeah.
They have a chicken schnitzel and chips and salad for $9.50.
I don't know about that.
Look up the menu. I could be wrong. That could have been 1972 prices. I'll have to check.
Yeah, probably.
Is there any such thing as a really affordable?
Well, it's microwave meals now.
Not in our house. You and Nathan, I saw a pizza box in our fridge the other day.
Yeah.
And yet you're living here with a fridge full of food.
Oh, it's not really a fridge full of food.
What did your mother cook the other night?
We only got pizza.
She cooked you butter chicken from scratch.
We only got pizza because we couldn't be bothered to cook. Let's just get a pizza.
She never lets me do that. I wanted Chinese the other night.
Yeah, well, I'm the favourite.
And she said...
Now, Luke, we've got a lot to cover in this episode. So we're going to skimmy past listener mail, but I did have this message from Susie I wanted to read out quickly.
Come on, Susie.
It says, hi, Luke. I was listening into you and Rod when you were discussing removing dead animals off the road. A while ago, a lady in Tasmania hit a roo, maybe a possum. It was just dark.
Big possum.
The lady got out of her car to move the animal off the road only to be hit and killed by another car.
Yeah, no, I think I may have mentioned that with Rod. If I didn't, it was remiss of me. Wires, years ago, said if you hit an animal, drag it off the road so that the predators, the scavengers, the crows, the magpies, everything else, so that they don't stay on the road eating it.
Yeah.
But you're right. You put yourself in danger of being hit.
Yeah.
So you become roadkill. Coming up from Washington, Sky's Washington Bureau Chief Jonathan Kearsley.
Just a quick reminder, if you're listening to this in audio form, you can watch this on Spotify, or if you're listening on Spotify. But also just forgive Luke for choosing the wrong camera this morning with Jonathan Kearsley.
I went to click on the right one, it wouldn't let me, and that's your fault.
Yeah.
While he drinks from his cup, we're bonafide and busted, but you legends stick around. Through Luke's chilly meltdowns and his bulletproof head sound.
Well, another interesting, I was going to say day or week or month in the world, and another interesting hour. What's happening in the Middle East changes day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. Another deadline come and gone, another one set, a problem with the Pope, and a man dressed as Jesus claiming he was really a doctor. Jonathan Kearsley, who is the US Bureau Chief Correspondent for Sky News, joins us again live from Washington. G'day, buddy.
Luke, always good to talk to you and your listeners.
Well, dear oh dear. So here we are at the point of recording today's podcast. You got the White House saying that reports the US has requested to extend the ceasefire with Iran. It's set to expire next week. Whether or not that's true, whether or not Taco Trump will follow through, we still don't know. Yeah. And you've got the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying his country is prepared for any scenario. Where are we at?
Well, I think you're in a situation where the United States is trying to find a way to strike a deal. We have seen Pakistan's military chief go into Tehran, Iran's capital, essentially trying to rejuvenate the idea of talks. President Trump had told a New York Post reporter yesterday, as of recording this, that is Tuesday in the United States, Wednesday, Australian time, that reporter in Islamabad should stay there, that there could well be talks in the next 48 hours. We've now heard the president speaking on Fox Business here in the United States today, saying that war will end very soon. But at the same time, there's no real timeline set on them. And clearly President Trump is looking for a way out. They have put this blockade in place, which the United States is adamant is being effective. It's not a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, it's a blockade of Iranian ports. So while there are reports coming through of ships getting through the Strait of Hormuz, well, the position from the Trump administration is, yes, they have been cleared by the US Navy to essentially make their way out. What they are trying to stop happening is from ships coming in to pick up Iranian oil, fund the regime, and turn around and take that oil back out of the country and back out of the region. So that is the purpose behind the naval blockade by the United States of Iranian ports. Not only through the Strait of Hormuz, the Gulf of Oman as well is impacted by this, but there is a real push. You get a sense for negotiations to resume again. Vice President J.D. Vance, he spearheaded the US side in Islamabad over the course of the weekend. It didn't result in a deal. He was sounding a little bit more optimistic about things again as of about 24 hours ago. So look, these are delicate situations. You're dealing with a ceasefire in a conflict zone, a hotly contested war essentially between two countries who have long viewed each other as enemies, the United States and Iran. And Israel is part of this too. You've had the talks between Israel and Lebanon. There'll now be direct talks between those sides for the first time in decades. I mean, what you are seeing here is a slow move to try and find a way to have peace in the region. But all the while, with the Strait of Hormuz still effectively significantly reduced in its oil shipments, you've got prices still high around the world. President Trump, speaking with Fox Business, said, look, they will come down. He's still of the view that they will get down. But the US is now forecasting higher prices over the course of the middle of this year than they were just a short time ago. So that goes to show you the impact financially of this conflict, of the Strait of Hormuz being so heavily impacted, because it doesn't just mean higher petrol prices. It means higher prices for many goods that come through that area. Obviously, oil and fuel is the main thing that comes through there. We've seen the impact in Australia with airline prices and airlines changing routes. This is the global impact you start to see from something as significant as shutting down the world's most vital shipping laneway.
So is there an embargo on ships imposed by the US or not? On Sky News last night, they depicted 3 ships that they claim were definitely Iran-bound or exiting Iran's waters allowed to go through. So is there a Trump-US embargo on the Strait of Hormuz or not?
Well, essentially what you have in place, I think there is information being put out by both sides on this. From the American side of things, what you have is they are saying this is a blockade of the Iranian ports. They are trying to stop Iranian ships and ships, particularly from China. They said this is having a big impact on China too, coming into Iran's ports, picking up Iran's oil and getting out again. There have been a significant number of ships stranded in this Strait of Hormuz since this conflict began. There's been dozens of them. Now, yes, some are getting out. Look, the US position is that they are running what they see as an effective blockade, and they are releasing the ships that they view as being safe and allowed to pass through. But the view from the Iranian regime is clearly they are trying to put out a different side of this, that their ships are actually able to get through and get oil around the world. So there's different sides to both of this. But the main point really is that it's the United States is not trying to block off the Strait of Hormuz. What it's trying to do is block off the Iranian ports to stop Iran's oil getting out of the country, but to allow the ships that are going into the region otherwise and trying to get out of the region otherwise to do so without paying Iran what was reported to be $2 to $3 million US tolls.
Yeah, it's a massive thing, and the possibility of Trump and the US sharing a toll of some sort. That was part of the confusion as well. One last thing, because I know you're going to file for Sky. The president, the commander-in-chief, has been widely criticised by religious groups. He published an image of himself depicting, well, we all assumed a picture of himself depicting himself as Jesus Christ, robes over him, healing a man with his hands, with angels and all sorts of things in the background. He then quickly deleted it. He said, "Oh no, I'm portraying myself as a doctor." Very strange scrubs he was wearing and not a stethoscope in sight. What did you make of this?
The big indication is the president removed the post. I think that tells you everything you need to know about how he feels about this and the view from particularly some of his closest Republican colleagues on this. You have to have a look at the data of the United States of America. Around about 2/3 are of the Christian faith. That's 2/3 of 340 million people. Around about 20% of them are Catholics. Republicans are conservatives, largely of the Christian faith, largely of the Catholic faith. This has a real problem for the MAGA movement because, again, so many of his base have a strong belief in Jesus. Essentially what you're seeing is the power of the presidency against the power of the church. Now, Pope Leo, and this is what all this boils down to, is President Trump has opened up a feud with Pope Leo, who has been poking away at criticisms of some of the Trump administration policies, particularly around immigration and more recently around the war in Iran. And that appeared to get under the president's skin the other day when he launched a full-scale verbal attack on America's first pope by saying, or the first American pope, by saying, you know, the pope is weak on this situation. And still, even on Truth Social last night, the president was once again trying to poke at the pontiff. We've heard Pope Leo sort of hit back today in a veiled way, issuing a warning about the rich and powerful across the world. He's previously said, you know, that he is not scared of the Trump administration. But what this has the potential to do here is open up a real feud and a real gap in the Republican base because, as I said, so many of them are deeply religious. We've heard from Republicans in Congress who are unhappy with the president's depiction of Jesus. We've heard bishops describe it as blasphemous. We've heard others say that they are disgusted and offended. We've heard others say that he should stop seeing the Pope as a political rival. But then you have individuals like the Vice President, J.D. Vance, and Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, both deeply religious figures themselves. J.D. Vance is a Roman Catholic. He was one of the last people to see Pope Francis alive before he passed away. And both of these men are firmly in President Trump's corner. And they are saying, essentially, to the Catholic Church, stay out of politics. It's not your space. Don't comment on our policies. So, look, while the White House is going to want this issue to go away, the real problem is that the longer it is in the public domain and the longer people keep talking about it, the further it gets into the grassroots movement, which is the MAGA movement. And that has the potential to cause a real problem leading up to the midterms for the Republicans. We're not seeing a sign of that yet. It is very, very early on since this depiction of Jesus was posted. We've got another post from the president today of him being embraced, and again, an AI image of him being embraced by Jesus, effectively posting it with the words, the left won't like this, but here it is. So, look, President Trump supporters see him as the art of the online troll, if you like, trying to wind up his political opponents. But there is a real risk here that he actually winds up alienating some of his most staunchest supporters.
Yeah, I saw a meme yesterday. It was quite funny online, and it was Jesus saying, Trump said, what? Okay, enough. Give me the phone.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this is the world that with President Trump. I mean, we knew this first time around when he had access to a Twitter account. Now, you could wake up in the morning here in the United States and think about, well, the first thing I must do is check Twitter and see what's the president posted about now. We know he's not a big sleeper. He stays up late. He's on his phone. He's constantly on the phone with reporters here in the United States, even late at night, talking about various issues. Today, it's the United Kingdom and having a crack at the UK ally and Keir Starmer and the British government policies and threatening to tear up trade negotiations. I mean, this is the work of the president. You might not see him publicly in front of cameras all of the time. I think today is probably about day 2, perhaps even day 3. We may not see the president in front of a television camera, but he is still trying to make his presence felt, whether that is posting to Truth Social to his millions of followers or taking calls from journalists around Washington, D.C. I mean, this is how he likes to crave the attention and get the attention and make himself be put out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a diplomat, but can I just say one thing? It's okay not to have friends, but it's another thing to go out of your way to make enemies.
Well, but this is the President Trump mantra.
Yeah.
And we have heard some almost questioning his mental acuity, and he was a staunch critic of Joe Biden's mental health when he was president.
Yep.
But there've been questions circulating. I mean, Nancy Pelosi put the question yesterday or the other day that perhaps the only person who could tell what's really going on is a psychologist. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also been sceptical and critical. She was a former Trump ally turned Trump foe. But this is the way the president does things, and it shouldn't really come as a surprise to many. The only difference is now is he is much more prepared to do it relentlessly and all of the time. And it's not just, it's not just allies. We've heard him had a crack at Australia. I spoke to him about this issue, a couple of weeks ago. He's had a crack at Australia repeatedly. He's had a crack at the Catholic Church. He's had a crack at allies. Anybody he doesn't like, he's prepared to speak his mind off. It's not holding back to see what the State Department or the administration thinks he should do more broadly. He is the president, and that is the position he puts forward.
Yeah. Last question, because you got to go. If you could sit down with Donald Trump, and it's just you and the president, and you don't have to submit any of your questions. So you're asking questions and he is unprepared. What's your first question?
What keeps you up at night? Because, this is the idea about trying to get into the mind of the president. I mean, you can ask him something straightforward and easy and open up with a soft one about, how was your golf over the weekend? But get into his mindset. He's prepared to talk about it. And that's where the conversation would start. And then from there, you can go into what's his issues with Australia? What's his concern? What does he see the world looking like after his presidency runs out? Where does he want to leave America once he leaves office? I mean, these are the legacy questions. I know you asked for one. I gave you one, probably gave you a few more than that too. But that's what you would want to do, is sit in a room with the president or on the end of a telephone and try and get an understanding from the man himself of his mindset, his reasoning, his planning, his preparation. So that's where I'd go.
Jonathan Kearsley, Sky News Bureau Chief in Washington, always educational. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. We really appreciate you taking out the time to talk to us.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Use pretend and not see that blinker, and there's trouble. There's trouble. Guess what? I don't think you are my enemy anymore. My enemy and the creator of roundabouts.
Dr. Philip Norrie, I'm always talking to you about this time of the year about the flu shot, which is really important, especially for the more health vulnerable of the community. But there's some news that I saw last night, and I wanted to ask you about it. Apparently in New South Wales, they're going to commence a free nasal spray influenza vaccination program. It's been widely used in the Northern Hemisphere, and I want to learn more about it. What is this nasal spray influenza vaccination? So it's not invasive. It's not a needle. You sort of suck it up like an asthma puffer, it looked like on the news. What is this? What's it all about?
Okay, this is to vaccinate kids less than 5. Small kids are always afraid of needles. They've developed a nasal spray where you spray up each nostril, and it contains small amounts of the virus, the influenza virus, and it gets absorbed through the nasal mucosa or the lining of the nose, which is very vascular, and gets into the body. And then once it's in the body, the immune system makes antibodies against it. So it's just another route to introduce the virus into the body. So when you give an injection or needle, you're just sticking the virus in the muscle where you stick the needle, and then the immune system via the blood recognises it and then makes antibodies against it. This is nothing new. The first recorded shoving things up your nose was Indian Hindu priests 2,000 years ago blowing smallpox scabs up people's nose to give immunity to smallpox 2,000 years ago. And in the future, we're going to have Viagra and Cialis nasal sprays so that you can have a quicker erection.
Having worked in radio for 43 years, I've been surrounded by some members of my profession that have medicated white powder through their nose, and it gets to the bloodstream very, very quickly. So putting things up our nose has been around for a long time. The next obvious question, Doc, is why can't all vaccinations be nasal?
You'd have to ask the bean counters at the health department.
But why aren't you running the health department then?
Because I'm too smart for them.
You're too busy. You're too busy saving people's lives. Is it important for every age group to get a flu vaccination, or just certain members of the community?
Look, it's preferable that everyone gets it. And the beauty of the Southern Hemisphere is we always follow the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah. So and everyone should get it, because if you can prevent it, the best way to treat a disease is not get it in the first place. That's called prevention.
Dr. Norrie, I know that you have found a lot of frustration in the misspending of the NDIS. Do you think we'll ever get on top of this?
No, because with the NDIS, they don't have to account for it. It's sort of a $50 billion golden egg that everyone can rort. So you're going to have to make it different, where you have to justify every cent you spent. And instead of when it first came in, you just sent off an invoice and they paid you, or actually you didn't have to send it, you just put in a claim. They should now have to be able to verify and justify that claim.
Well, this was Bill Shorten's baby, and he swore by it. He put his career on it, and there were so many loopholes. We have seen billions of dollars misspent, and it's a very good idea, the NDIS, if it's spent correctly. And I read today, Doc, that a lot of the major providers are calling for stricter NDIS registration rules. And these stricter registration rules would hopefully weed out low-quality NDIS providers. Now, the Prime Minister has indicated that his government's going to outline NDIS reform at the federal budget next month. What do you think will happen?
I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, this has been going on for bloody years, okay? Number one, just you put in your claim, but you don't have to justify it. That's got to stop. Number two, having NDIS providers who are just shonky and wouldn't know a patient if they ran into them and they got no medical experience. All those people have to be weeded out and only have reputable, proper NDIS suppliers. Then there's all the rorting out in the western suburbs, for example. There's lots of people out there actually just rorting the system with phantom patients and phantom claims and all that sort of stuff. Just like in America with the Sudanese in Minnesota, they just have phantom patients. So the whole thing has to be regulated. And why do we have to pay for somebody to accompany the applicant to the movies or go on an overseas trip with them and all this sort of stuff, right? I mean, that's getting a bit excessive, where we, the taxpayer, paying for the carer to go on holidays with the person or to go to the movies with them, right? I got one person, and if it rains, the NDIS pays for a taxi for him, okay? He can't walk to the bus station with an umbrella like the rest of us. So what they allow should also be regulated. I mean, some of these things are just a bit over the top, and we're paying for it.
Well, I tell you, there was an interesting story I read just a couple of days ago, and it was in the Northern Beaches, and there was an elderly lady who needed part-time care under the NDIS. She didn't need live-in full-time care, but just someone to come around, keep her company, make sure she was okay, and prepare a meal. But the woman could go to the toilet, she could shower herself, she was okay, and it was all NDIS. It was usually $150 an hour. But on Easter, Good Friday and Easter Sunday, it was nearly $400 an hour, NDIS.
And who's paying for that? The taxpayer. Why couldn't she have a meal just left for her and she just heats it up in the microwave?
It was $375 an hour for Good Friday and Easter Sunday.
Yeah, it's good money, isn't it? Basically, there's got to, number one, justify your claim with receipts and things. Number two, weed out all the shonky providers, weed out all the scam people who are just faking with phantom patients, and limit what you can claim. I don't think you should be able to claim for taxis or somebody accompanying you to the movies or somebody accompanying you on a trip overseas. Why is that happening? That's just a waste of money.
Well, the NDIS, something's got to give, folks. They're facing significant challenges regarding fraud. And as I say, there are reports suggesting up to $4 billion annually is being misappropriated by dishonest providers. Something's got to give.
Well, I would say $4 billion would be an understatement.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I've got a patient who was into medical administration and he was at the original NDIS discussions, 20 years ago, I suppose now. And he said that they budgeted for $2 billion. $2 billion. That was the budget, and that was, for people who were genuine and needed motorised wheelchairs, for example, or something like that. Then when Gillard took it to Parliament, it became $13 billion, and now it's at $50 billion, going to be up to $60 billion. I mean, that's nearly double $60 billion is nearly double our defence expenditure, for Christ's sake. Let's get our priorities right.
I remember there was a guy who rang me on the air. He was in charge of a safe house for people with a minor disability. And there were 5 young people, and his job was to teach them to cook and to teach them how to clean themselves, basically look after them, but help them get ready for a life on their own. And he said, for some reason, we were required to have 5 wheelchairs. He said, none of my 5 clients needed a wheelchair, but we were told to have these wheelchairs. And there was a guy that would come round once a week for $200 to service the wheelchairs. I'll never forget this. And he had a little toolkit. And in that toolkit was a screwdriver, a rag, and a can of WD-40. And he would look at the wheelchairs, squirt the wheels, and leave. He said it took him 15, 20 minutes. Once a week, $200.
It's good money, isn't it? I mean, we are so naive, so stupid, and governments are so stupid. If you're going to have a 40, just prior, you had a 40 billion honeypot, of course people are going to rort it. I mean, how naive of you to think you weren't going to be rorted? And why didn't you have the justification at the very first day? If you want to make a claim against the NDIS, prove it, okay? No, you just put your claim in and you didn't have to justify it, and NDIS parted with the money. It was the biggest roared out. It was pathetic.
Worse than pink bats. Remember the pink bats?
Yes, the pink bats, yes. And then the people installing them didn't know what they were doing.
No.
And they just electrocuted themselves.
Oh, young boys died in roofs. I remember we were walking down our driveway at the height of the pink bat thing. I remember talking on air to Peter Garrett, who was then a junior Labor minister, and he was in charge of all this with Penny Wong. And I had an argument with him, and I warned him. I said, there are rorts going on. There are unqualified people doing this. I've got report after email after email after phone caller. And he refused to listen. I can't cope with the bloke anymore. But anyway, I was walking down the driveway, and there was a bloke who was doing some hedge cutting for the bloke next door. And this young bloke came down the driveway and said, excuse me, are you the homeowner? I said, yeah. And he said, we also install pink bats, and you can get it for free. Here's my card. He was a hedge trimmer. He was trimming trees and hedges, but overnight he became a pink bat installer and assured us that it wouldn't cost us anything.
Well, yeah, they had metal in them, and when you touch the electric wires, you get short-circuited and you get electric.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just saying unqualified people, because there was a government rort and they couldn't see through it, and people lost their lives over that. The NDIS is a massive, massive scam in just New South Wales, $5.8 million, but they reckon the national figure so far is $4 billion. I think that is an underquote, and something needs to be done by a long, long shot. And I wonder if Albanese will address this in the May budget. Dr. Norrie, could we ever see another COVID? Did we ever find out in Wuhan what actually happened?
You're not going to find out what happened because the Chinese aren't going to cooperate in an inquiry. So was it a intentional leak or was it an accident? Who knows? We'll probably never find out.
And the moment we had the temerity to ask questions about it, they put trade sanctions on it.
Yeah, 3 years of trade sanctions. So.
Yeah, because we asked what really happened.
What happened, yes. Well, look, all I can say is that once they found out that the COVID was in Wuhan, all flights from Wuhan to anywhere within China were stopped, but all flights from Wuhan to the rest of the world continued. So draw your own conclusion.
I wonder if we've learnt the lesson.
Well, look, I don't believe anybody, right? Okay. The only person I trust is my mother, but she's dead. Everybody else bullshits.
Dear, oh dear. Let's talk about this wine story. I found it fascinating. It's a new study that came out of southern Italy at LUM University in Casamina in southern Italy. And it was published just this week. And it says that a glass or two of wine a day slows aging in men, but not necessarily in women. It found that men who drank about 200 ml of wine a day were nearly 6 months biologically younger than non-drinkers. What do you make of this? I'm glad I asked.
Yes, well, it's not much. I mean, the Zufin study supersedes this. The Zufin study is the longest longitudinal study in the world, and it showed that wine drinkers, male or female, outlived teetotalers by 5 years, not 6 months, by 5 years. So I think the Italian study is a bit on the nose. I would go more with the Zufin study. And the Busselton study in Western Australia, it showed that it was the first study to include women, and it showed that the benefits of drinking wine weren't restricted to men, they also applied to women. So the Italians obviously never read the Busselton study. I go by the Busselton study, which is the first study that included women, which showed that the benefits are applicable to women just the same as men because women's vascular system's the same. And I go by the Zufin study, which says that wine drinkers outlive teetotalers by 5 years, not 6 months.
All right. Now, there was another interesting story that I know you wanted to talk about, and we will. For years now, many sufferers of gout have used colchicine. But colchicine, as I say, a common remedy or treatment, is probably the better word for gout, has other uses. Tell us about this.
Okay, colchicine is basically an anti-inflammatory, so it reduces the inflammation during an acute gout attack. They also use it for pericarditis. Pericarditis is where you get inflammation of the sac around the heart. So every organ has glad wrap, plastic glad wrap, to use another expression, to isolate the organ and to protect it from infection. So in the heart, it's the pericardium. In the brain, it's the meninges. In the lung, it's the pleura. In the abdomen, it's the peritoneum. So the glad wrap around the heart, if it becomes inflamed or infected, say with virus, you get pericarditis, and you treat it with colchicine. It's an anti-inflammatory to reduce the swelling and inflammation, and more importantly, fluid production, which squashes the heart and reduces the heart's ability to pump properly. So now they're trialling colchicine as an anti-inflammatory to prevent vascular disease. When you get an atheroma or a plaque build up, it gets big, and then it becomes inflamed, it ruptures. And then when it ruptures, the body blocks off the rupture with a clot, and that clot blocks the artery and everything downstream dies. That's what happens in a heart attack or stroke. So what they're trying to do with the colchicine is prevent the plaque from becoming inflamed, and therefore it won't rupture. So if it works, that's good. But that's how wine works. Wine has anti-inflammatory markers, resveratrol, quercetin, epicacetin. They're polyphenols that act as anti-inflammatories, and wine also has its own anticoagulants to thin the blood and stop forming clots. So wine is a complete thing. These are just doing one part of the equation, which is to reduce the inflammation. So it'd be interesting whether they include people who aren't on anticoagulants and people who are taking, their aspirin a day.
You take it, don't you?
On my 50th birthday, I said I want to live longer, so I started taking 100 milligrams of entericated aspirin every day, and I still do it.
Yeah, I saw it. It's in I don't know what brand it is, but I saw it in an orange box at the chemist up the road here, and I thought that's what he's talking about. Just with colchicine and gout, because it's a commonly asked question. Gout, uric acid crystals building up in the joints, and I had it many years ago, and I had a blood test and I had high uric acid levels. I was given Xyloprim. Is that a brand name?
Yeah, Xyloprin's a brand name for allopurinol. Allopurinol reduces your uric acid.
Yeah, but I was had the colchicine, which made me shit, but it relieved it in 24 hours. And then I was told I'd be on Xyloprim for the rest of my life, but I stopped, and I haven't had gout in 20 years. So but I can remember I couldn't even cope with the weight of a sheet on my toe. It was my left big toe. Is it off? And I've spoken to other people with gout. They often say, yes, the left big toe, but I've heard of gout in the wrist, in other joints. Is it usually with men?
Okay, look, basically we're made up of protein, and if the protein breaks down, the purines, the waste product of the protein, becomes uric acid. Now, if you have too much uric acid, male or female, you form urate crystals, and urate crystals in the joint cause gout. Urate crystals in the kidneys bugger up the kidneys. Lots of urate crystals in the kidneys form kidney stones. So it's not just the joints, it's also the kidneys and kidney stones. If you've ever asked anyone who's passed the kidney stone what pain's like, they'll tell you. They're with gallstones and giving birth. Now, you can reduce your uric acid by taking allopurinol, such as Pro-Gout or Xyloprim, they're the usual brand names. Or you can go on a gout diet where you drink more water, drink less alcohol, less offal or organ meats, brain, liver, tripe, kidneys, cabanossi, salami, all that sort of stuff, less seafood. You can reduce your uric acid by changing your diet to reduce the proteins that break down and form the uric acid, or you can take your pill. So if you've stopped your pill 20 years ago and you haven't had gout, then you must be on the right gout diet, which I probably told you 20 years ago.
Yeah, you did. But I don't drink spirits and I don't drink wine, and I wish I did, because people who enjoy red wine really enjoy it. I mean, I'm not talking about people who drink red wine to get pissed. They really enjoy the different flavours. The biggest selling wine in Australia is Shiraz, and I wouldn't be able to pick a Shiraz from any other kind of red. That's what a pleb I am. Someone once told me that gout was considered the rich man's food, and Henry VIII had gout, and he drank a lot of red wine or fortified wine, port. Is that correct, or is that an old wives' tale?
No, it's an old wives' tale based on fact, because the richer people drank more alcohol,
right,
and they also ate more. In England, it'd be mutton or lamb, and so they'd have a high protein diet full of mutton and beef and all that sort of stuff, which breaks down and forms uric acid. So their diet would be higher in protein and they'd drink more alcohol, whereas the poorer people would have less access to the alcohol. They probably just had a penny's worth of gin, and 2 penny worth of gin you were drunk. A diet based on probably just grains and vegetables and not on meat.
It's interesting, if you read Charles Dickens, for example, let's go to Oliver Twist, where gin gets a huge mention. Back in those days, gin must have been incredibly cheap to make and cheap to buy, because it seems that the whole of London was pissed on gin.
Yeah, well, you can look at Hogarth's painting of Gin Alley, and all the people are pissed, and there's the lady with the baby on her breast. So it was, drunk for a penny and dead drunk for two.
Yeah,
So it's very, very cheap.
Gin, we might look at the history of alcohol on another chat one day, hey?
Yep.
Let's do that. Hey, listen, final thing, and folks, this is not a joke. I was watching a health documentary the other night, and I saw it and I thought, that's interesting. I'll put this one to the good doctor. Apparently, you can indicate what kind of health you're in by the smell of your flatulence. According to the experts, generally signaling how bacteria breaks down food, diet, or swallowed air. The frequency can vary from person to person, but you can actually tell how your gut health is going by the smell of your farts. Could you elaborate?
Okay, to be PC,
and let me just interrupt for a second. There's nothing worse than the smell of somebody else's fart, but how good is the smell of your own? Sorry.
Particularly when you're in a lift with other people. Yes.
Or in the shower where it's hot and steamy and you're surrounded by glass. How good is that one? Sorry. Keep going.
Okay, to be PC, we don't call it farts now, we call it flatus. Passing flatus or passing wind.
Or a raspberry, they used to say back in the day.
Yeah, well, basically bacteria in the gut break down foods and particularly carbohydrates, and they liberate methane gas. And the methane gas causes bloat, causes flatus or farting. And if you've been in any swamps lately, it usually has the rotten egg gas sulfur smell, which is common in marshes and places like that with the bacteria breaking down the carbohydrates. Now, to put things in perspective, I went to a lecture by a gastroenterologist talking about the biome or the bacteria in the gut, and he said 10% of the cells in our body are us. So 10% of our cells that make us up actually make the human body. The other 90% of cells on the body are either on the body or in the body as bacteria. So that's a really interesting statistic that puts things into perspective. 90% of the cells in our body are bacteria, and the other 10% are us. So we have bacteria on our skin, so the bacteria on us, and we have bacteria in us, in the gut and mainly and also the chest. Everywhere else tries to be sterile. So we have normal bacteria in the bowel, normal bacteria in the chest, and normal bacteria on our skin. So when you have your biome in the gut breaking down meals and breaking down the carbohydrates, you're going to liberate methane gas, and the methane gas has to come out one end or the other. So you either burp it up or you fart it out the other end. So farting is normal, and they say you can pass up to 8 to 25 times a day is normal. High frequency often linked to a high fibre diet. So if you're having a high fibre diet because you're constipated, for example, you're going to fart more, okay? And the smell is basically the rotten egg gas smell, which is methane gas and the sulphur.
Okay, is it healthy to have a good smelly fart every now and then?
Yes.
It is.
It's normal.
It's normal. What's unnormal? What's unhealthy?
Okay, well, in the northern beaches of Sydney, the water supply's got Giardia lamblia, which is actually a protozoa. It's not a bacteria, it's a protozoa. It lives in the water supply. So it's very common in summertime when the protozoa comes out to play that people get Giardia lamblia infections. So that would present as bloating, lots of farting, but also lots of diarrhea. So if you get a protozoal or bacterial infection of the bowel, you usually not only get farting, but you get bloating and diarrhea and sometimes nausea and vomiting. So we treat that with metronidazole or flagyl, which is an antibiotic that kills off the Giardia lamblia.
So it's absolutely normal. Absolutely normal.
So if you get persistent bloating and abdominal cramping or colic and bloating and diarrhea or blood in your stool or weight loss, well, those red flags you should go see a doctor for.
Dr. Norrie, always interesting, always something to talk about. You take care of yourself. Have your flu shot, okay?
Yep, and my COVID shot as well. because, people should be having their COVID updated shot as well.
Really? Do I need to get them to put it in an inhaler? Right to somebody.
Yeah.
Right to somebody. Okay, Doc, talk to you soon.
Okay.
Welcome to a show called The Man Cave. Man Cave. With owner on the mic, it's a good day. Good day. Adam McDonald and Kearsley too. Thomas behind the scenes, producing all the goods. Have a good time on a Friday. Or anytime you choose.
And welcome to another live podcast, the Bonafide podcast, going all around the world, all around Australia, and all around Mount Druitt. It is good to be with you. We are jumping straight into the Man Cave today. It's a special Man Cave edition where you can take part. You can call us on 0291289311. You can drop us a comment on Luke Boner Radio Guy.
No, in the comments on the live stream. You don't really understand how it works, do you?
Let me just say this. When I buy a watch, I don't care what goes on underneath. I just want it to tell me the time.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, the vice captain has jumped on board, Adam McDonald from Evans Hastings, star of the TV show Aussie Pickers, and he's about to go back on the road full-time evaluating crap and trying to flog it for an excessive price. That's what he does. It's called unders and overs, and he's an overs man. Also, the king of financial advice, our good mate Scotty Phillips from the Motley Fool also joins us again. His third one in a row. Scotty, good to see your shiny, smiling face.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Vice Captain. Yes, mate, if you can't find anybody else, I'm always happy to fill in. So, mate, obviously the bottom of the barrel is where you've gone, and I'm happy to be here.
Someone said to me,
"You're outnumbered here, Lukey, with your follicle brilliance."
Yes, I know, but someone said, "How come the two smartest blokes that you talk to both have very shiny heads?" And I said, "Well, what actually is this? It's nature's solar panel for their brain."
Exactly right.
Correct.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, or where there were once waves, it's just now all beach.
Well, mine's sort of fallen out of my head and growing off my shoulders.
And out your ears.
It's a
ears, nose.
It's a scene. It's a scene.
I, up until recently, had a wonderful girl called Tanya who used to come and cut my hair every 6 weeks. And she spent...
Hang on. Come to your house and cut your hair?
It's a long story, but she did house calls.
Wow.
She did illegal house calls during COVID when you couldn't get to I couldn't get to the girl up the road. And anyway, she was very good. But the thing that bothered me was she spent more time on my ears than my head. How come?
Eyebrow issues too, just quiet. They've got to sort those out at some point. So it's all, like Adam, mate. The hair's growing in the wrong places. Anyway,
good to have you both. The millennial is here, keeping the ball rolling. Hello to you, my precious.
Hi.
Lots to talk about. And we're going to have a bit of fun today. And I think it was the vice captain's idea. If I've got it wrong, let me know. He said, bring back the Quickie, which I used to do on the Triple M network and at 2GB, where I play a fraction of a second of a popular song. You had to guess what it was. Okay. And then we got singing TV commercials. And the vice captain said, let's make it a commercial Quickie. And we're going to do just that. So Adam and Scotty have submitted their TV, radio ad jingles. I have no idea what they are. I promise you, no idea. And I've got one or two. I'm going to play a fraction of a second of it. You guys have not only got to guess what the product was, but you're going to help sing the jingle.
Sing the jingle. Now I can tell you this. And this is a true story. One of the most, how can I put this delicately, annoying ad campaigns that I reckon I've ever come across was penned by a good friend of mine, an old school friend, and we caught up. We catch up once a year for the Super Bowl, and we go to a big party. Anyway, long story. But I was talking about him, and he's I'm in advertising, and I said, have you done anything big? And he said, yes, I did this ad campaign, and I just looked at him and went, wow. You shouldn't have done that.
So
your fault.
Yeah.
So is that your submission today?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It was only a saying.
What was it?
That's Winston with a Y.
Oh no way!
Yeah. So old mate Johnny, he was the brainchild behind. That's Winston with a Y, and it turned into quite a long conversation about how he got there. And he just said, it was a it was a bottle of red, and I just got there. That's how we got there.
Well, it's actually genius. It's actually genius, and the cartoon character that you see in the TV ads actually looks like the voice. Kind of like
that's what he said.
Mr.
He said it's not. Yeah, he said it's not all about it being cool or funny. Like if it being annoying, they're going to remember it.
No, it's very clever in that if you are, they do blinds. So if you are looking, you've heard the ads on radio, and you go to the yellow page. You don't go. You Google because you want to get a quote. The first thing you want to do is go WIN, as in Winston Churchill. And so hammering home that it's Winston with a Y is actually really, really clever. Don't you reckon, Scotty?
Exactly.
That's very clever. And it also means, it's a brand they can have to themselves because you don't often see Winston spelt that way. So not only do you tell people how to find it, but the name itself becomes something that's unusual and then becomes not iconic, but it's really, really well known.
Yeah.
In Sydney, they used to have, I remember Hudson's, the timber mob, and it was Hudson's with an H.
That was John Singleton.
Same kind of idea. It's just, you're saying to people, here's how to think about the name. Here's how to think about the brand. You didn't need it with Hudson because it wasn't always going to be Hudson. We knew that. But Hudson with an H, once it gets in your head, you immediately think that's.
We just as an anecdote to that story, we were discussing this as we stepped onto his yacht at the front of Luna Park after the Super Bowl party and went over to Darling Harbour for dinner. So, it worked for Johnny.
Well done, Johnny.
I think from memory that was John Singleton's agency, and Singo rose to enormous fame in the 70s, and he did ads with very little polish. Where do you get it? You remember that?
That's right.
That was Singo.
Yep,
and he had this amazing touch with the common man, and yet he would say things like, "Your everyday Australian smokes Winnies and goes to the races." Mm-hmm. Well, that wasn't necessarily true, but kind of like the way Bob Hawke related to middle and working class Australia, Singo really touched a button with that market, didn't he, Scotty?
Yeah, and it was, you know why? Because he was one of the first people to do things in an Australian way, and it was overdone, but it was almost kind of that knee jerk of, remember, I mean, way back in the day, the ABC would have the Queen's English and the British received English, and it was always, there was a way things were supposed to be done, and Singo kind of tapped into the idea of, well, what if I just talk the way that normal people talk? And it was so unusual and so revolutionary that itself was as a strategy, and it was done over a couple of different brands. Just that very idea of let's not make it the toffee high-end, fancy ads. Let's actually do the stuff that is me talking to you talking to me, and even an exaggerated version of that, as you say. The where do you get it stuff. I mean, maybe one or two of us know someone maybe more like that, but the idea of just actually is just a normal ad, and it was all about cut through, and it was all about the creation of a memorable message. And ironically, at the time, advertising wasn't doing that. It was so busy trying to talk to itself and tell them, I'm sure a lot of the ad agencies said, look, let's just make the brand owner feel good and they'll pay us a fortune for their ad, right? So the brand owner would look at that on TV and go, oh, that's my brand, that's wonderful. Singo kind of went, what if I just concentrated on making a sale? What if I just actually push money through the door and change things up? And that's all it was. It was just a really, really simple observation of let's drive people to the product rather than actually make the hero product and make the product look and feel good. Let's actually make a sale, and it makes a huge difference.
That's right. And it's all about your targeted market. If you're selling timber, you're not going to be, using the Queen's English and all that sort of stuff. If you're selling cups of tea, maybe you are, but it's all about your targeted market. So that's what Singo nailed it straight away.
And just on that, I grew up in the world of advertising. My dad was the art director and a partner in W.B. Lawrence. Mm-hmm. And it was a vice captain. It was a boutique advertising agency, but with some huge clients, and they got results. Great. Dad's agency had Grace Brothers.
That's a big one.
Suzanne's. Yeah. Faye's. When Roseland's opened, Roseland's, we love you. I was the Roseland's kid in the black and white TV commercials. And they had these enormous clients for a little agency in Surrey Hills, opposite the Children's Court in corner of Commonwealth and Riley Streets. It was an old converted pub, and they had amazing clients. And I grew up in this world. And Dad used to say that, because we'd be watching telly and I'd see an ad and I go, that's a good ad, isn't it? And Dad would say, what was the product? I don't know, but it was, and he said, the only good ad is an ad that moves product. And that's what Singo did. He moved product. So it is a fascinating world. Bit of trivia. One of our podcast friends, Jason Morrison, in his younger days was doing work experience at an advertising agency. And they were trying to come up with a slogan. And he was lucky enough to be invited into the boardroom while they were brainstorming. Now, Jason swears by this. He innocently said, well, we're the fresh food people. Woolies. And Jason claims to have come up with that slogan as a work.
That's a big call. That's still going now. That's still their slogan now.
It is.
Jason,
Do you get royalties in that?
no, he was an intern.
Oh.
But anyway, that's his claim. Next time, he's now the chief editor or the editor-in-chief of the Daily Telegraph. He's gone back into print. So I don't know if we'll get him back on the podcast. But
No.
And you may have scared him off. But anyway, the world of advertising. And then really good ads become part of the Australian vernacular, like Not Happy Jan, Yellow Pages. And where the bloody hell are you? I'll put another shrimp.
See you in the NT.
See you in the.
Wow. I'm surprised that got across the line, to be honest.
It's so good, though.
It is great. It's fantastic, but I'm very surprised it got across the line.
And
there is.
We'll slip another shrimp on the barbie. We in Australia say prawns, but every American says that's not a knife, that's a knife, and I'll slip another shrimp on the barbie. I mean, that had international impact, didn't it, Scotty?
Huge, enormous. I've been teaching my 13-year-old son about why the Great Wall of China was built. Of course, we all know it was to keep the rabbits out.
Yeah.
Erected by Emperor Nazi Goring.
The Emperor Nazi Goring, I know.
Exactly. That was. You know, there was a Telstra Big Pond ad when they're actually promoting the internet. You mentioned the internet before. I was trying to get people to actually use the internet to connect to it. And so that was the dad in the front of the car. Dad, where a rabbit? You know, why did they build the Great Wall of China? To keep the rabbits out, son.
I feel like they do not make ads like that anymore.
They don't.
Don't you reckon?
They really don't.
Is it budget or what is it? Is it because the advertising pie is now cut up into so many more slices, budgets have pulled back? Once upon a time, you would advertise primarily on
people are just
TV,
lazy.
radio.
Lazy. Thank you, Kelsey. Exactly. Smartphones, lazy brains.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. I got to say, I work for an online business, right? The reality, unfortunately, is, and there's an old joke about the marketing director, and the marketing director says, "I know half of my advertising money is wasted, but I don't know which half." Right? And that changed with the internet. The idea of being able to pay per click. We advertise only online, and we don't do any banner advertising. All we do is, if someone clicks, we will pay you a couple of cents or whatever the money is to pay the click, right? So you don't get a 30-second ad. The 30-second ad builds a brand in theory, but so many people are rightly on one hand, and probably lazily or too scared, to Adam's point, saying, well, actually, I could do an ad, but it might not work. And I might spend X million dollars on the airtime, or I can place an ad on the Sydney Morning Herald or news.com or wherever I place it. And when someone, Facebook, when someone hits the ad, I'm only going to pay if they hit it. So if the ad sucks, no one's going to click on it. I'm not going to pay anything for it. If the ad's great, I'm going to pay only in proportion to the number of people who actually responded to it. So it's killing that. The other thing, Kelsey, you won't remember this, mate, but back in the day, 6 o'clock news on Sunday, I think I said this last week, the really, really big ad campaigns.
Yeah.
The advertiser would buy a block. They would wall to wall, they used to call it, and it was right across every network at exactly the same time. 7, 9, 10 if you're in the capital cities. Whatever you were watching, you flick between them and you watch the same ad. The advertiser wanted to make sure everybody saw the ad, and it was a huge deal. Often the big releases for movies did it that way, but other ads as well. Because that was you got a lot of people, it got to everybody, and it was also the only way to do it. You could do the billboards, you could do the newspaper, you could do radio, but TV was the only way you had moving pictures. And so the internet has absolutely fractured classified advertising, but it's fractured the display advertising as well. Yeah. I'm not sure that some clever so-and-so couldn't come up with a great online/TV ad now, but I'm not sure the returns are there. The viewership isn't there on TV, so you can't even get to that many people, let alone get a return on investment. So it's bloody hard to put the time, effort, and energy in. I think the last big viral I can think of is the Carlton Draft. It's a big ad, that it's very big. We better sell some bloody beer.
It's a big ad.
Right?
A big ad. Yeah, it was a great ad.
We better sell some bloody
Yeah.
beer. Yeah, and so, but that was the last one I can actually remember. I think after that, it's got to be viral, right? It's got to work online and then maybe on TV rather than the other way around.
Yeah. Well, Roger here says ads are more politically correct, sadly, and also puts in Ants Pants was solid quality stuff. Remember the Ants Pants ad?
Sick'em Rex.
Sickum Rex.
Sick'em, and one day you're going to get caught with your pants down.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I give it up. I sort of give it up to these people in marketing to have these sort of left of field visions. I went out yesterday to an estate down here and saw the best Star Wars collection I've seen. And like this is all 1970s Star Wars stuff, all still in the box. This guy was anyway, the guy was an interesting person in himself. But I got back to the office and I went up to my marketing team and said, this is what I've seen. And then they go, okay, leave it with us. 10 minutes later, I get an email to say, okay, we're going to do a sale and it's the May the 4th sale. We're going to run it and end on May the 4th. So it's a May the 4th be with you. They sent me this email where it's like a video from a galaxy far, far away, and there's the Evans Hastings logo in the Star Wars font, and then the scrolls going up into the space. Like it's absolutely perfect. And it took them, like literally, I walked out of that office, and not an hour later, they hit me with this, and I said, "This is it. This is it." I went back to the vendor and said, "This is our plan," and he's like, "I can't believe how perfect this is going to work."
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be a May the 4th sale, a Star Wars May the 4th.
Oh, I'm excited for that. Cool. Oh, we need to come up with an ad for a good Wave Day, National Wave Day.
May the 8th is coming up. It's International Thank You Wave Day that I came up with many years ago.
With James Ward.
And James Ward from Drive.com. It's to encourage people when someone does something nice.
On the road.
It's to encourage you to give them a little thank you wave and spread.
Well, this is the thing. Because I spend a lot of time on the road, if you're in a country town, it doesn't matter if you do anything nice. Everyone gives it the two fingers off the steering wheel. Yeah, just g'day, mate. I can see you there. You haven't done anything. All you do is driving past.
Yeah.
And I've also seen advertised online, you can get little plastic fingers that you can clip onto your steering wheel, so it's always there, and you can be lazy and not do it, but the gesture's still there.
There is a road rage version, and it's like that.
It's the other one.
Yeah.
It's the other one.
Just before we move on, I'm just going to give Dan a rap because I was just when you talk about advertising. His agency, WB Lawrence, which later Scotty became Lawrence Burnett, then Leo Burnett, they sold. And one of Dad's clients was You Can Bank on the Whales.
Wow. Yeah.
Which became Westpac.
It did.
And the red capital W is Dad's.
Oh, there you go.
And the rainbow for Razzmatazz stockings, that's also Dad's. But a great little bit of trivia. One of the most, that was Dad's.
Yep.
It's too late for Kelsey to find it now, but maybe you can edit it in the edited version of this. Also, one of Dad's clients was Sanyo. And the great Kerry Bedell and the Sanyo jingle, That's Life, with Kerry. They hired Kerry Bedell to sing it.
Right.
And it's the Kerry Bedell, That's Life Sanyo jingle, which is on YouTube. And you'll find it later on.
Now, just quickly, we've got a comment here from Andrew, listening in from London. One I remember from being in Oz was Slam It Down Hard for the lemon solo drink. What ad's that?
Okay.
What ad's that?
Okay.
It's light on the fizz,
so you can slam it down fast.
Oh.
Yes. You got to work it hard to be a solo man. You got to take the lead and make the others follow. You got to keep in shape to be a solo man because when you got a taste for it, you got to crack a solo.
Oh my God, Scotty, that was impressive. What?
Do you reckon has anyone ever seen the Marlboro Man and the Solo Man in the same room?
Okay.
They're the same type of dude.
I've got a story.
The moustache, hairy chest.
Ha.
I've got a story for you.
Yeah, he's putting his hand up. Good boy.
I'm amazed you said this. When Nikki and I were in high school, one of our PE teachers was a bloke called Michael, Google it, Michael Ace.
Yeah.
He was the solo man. He,
Of course he was. Of course he was.
And can you believe his name was Mr. Ace?
Mr. Ace, that's so good.
His name was Michael Ace.
That's fantastic.
He was the original solo man, so he had superstar status in the playground. And it was in a kayak, and he slammed it down. It had to dribble down his chin. It took a million takes to get it right. And at the 50th anniversary of Narrabeen High, he was one of the teachers that turned up. It was at Hardboard Diggers.
Yeah.
Your mum came with me.
Yeah.
And there he was. And we all lined up. He looked great. He's passed now. But Mr. Ace, Michael Ace, was a PE teacher at Narrabeen Boys High, and he was the solo man.
Now, last one from Wayne here, Bugger the Toyota ad. Anyone know that one?
Bugger.
Yes.
Bugger.
That was
Which is rude.
Yeah.
And it was banned in New Zealand for a while, I think, from memory, wasn't it?
Really?
Yeah, the sheep complained.
Could be because it's New Zealand, yes.
Yeah, the sheep went on strike.
Now, Luke.
Yes.
Before we go any further,
They stopped shearing, yes.
I've got to name and shame you. And that name and shame is for, I guess, putting me through the experience of seeing you wear this around the house.
Oh, this is 90.
Look at that. I cannot believe.
Who took that photo?
I did.
When?
We've discussed this 90 before.
But look at this. What is this outfit? You've got a dress on, a
No, it's-
90 over the top. What is this?
It's called a night shirt, not a nightie. And it was colder, so I had to put, it's got short sleeves. So my daughter has given me a number of pairs of Qantas pajamas. And they're the pajamas they give you in business class.
Oh, my God.
Can you see the Qantas logo?
That's strictly business, that is, Luke.
So I wish product placement, Qantas, come on board and be a sponsor. Because I've been to cities that never close.
Oh, stop it.
What about that ad? And the Australian Youth Choir flying to all those destinations.
Yes.
How much would that have cost, Scotty?
And they changed the lyrics, to remove Rio and put Rome in because they didn't fly to Rio.
That is 100% correct.
Yep, from Rome to New York and old London town was the way they sang it because they didn't fly to Rio.
And did Peter Allen's estate get anything? He would have.
Sure, must have.
What a great...
Speaking of great ads, though, that was one of the absolute classics, right? And just a really... Still, I mean, they still play it. I haven't been on a Qantas plane in a while, but when you're bored in national flight, they still have that piping through the music thing as you get on the plane too.
Now, I got one more story before we jump into today's news stories.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic jingles to ever make it on Australian radio and television was the Louie the Fly song.
Oh, yeah.
Mortine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the original singer was Ross Higgins from Kingswood Country.
Yeah.
Who was a radio actor before television and trod the boards, was in everything. And the campaign was the brainchild of award-winning author Bryce Courtenay. Now, Bryce Courtenay was a junior copywriter at George Pat's. And he's in a taxi going to a meeting because they wanted him to come up with something brilliant, or he had to come up with something brilliant in order to keep the account or be taken seriously. It was in his very early days. He wrote it in a taxi on his way to that meeting.
Wow.
The whole Louie the Fly thing and the song.
That's incredible.
So there's an even better story that my dad told me. Now, Bryce Courtenay, as you know, wrote The Power of One.
Mm-hmm.
And the story I'm about to tell you, obviously the person involved forgot that he was a very, very handy boxer. So the way the story was told to me was that a lot of the people in the advertising agency on Fridays would head to the Rag and Famish at North Sydney.
Good pub.
Still is.
Yeah.
And who's there? None other than Bryce Courtenay and a number of other advertising moguls, including John Singleton. And Singo likes a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Courtenay liked drinking back in those days as well. And they got into an argument.
Mm-hmm.
And Singo thought he could put his dukes up. And Bryce showed Singo that he knew how to box. And the story is Singo went flying across the room on his ass. And it was none other than Bryce Courtenay. But anyway, he's the brains behind Louie the Fly. So is that a good yarn or not?
That's a great
fantastic,
story.
Jan. Good
Singo doesn't mind throwing them or receiving them, I understand. I imagine they probably shook hands and went back and had a beer.
Oh, without a doubt.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Hey,
yes.
Mention Ross Higgins too, by the way. He was famously 2 ads, both Peebo and Mortine.
Hit him with the old Peebo.
Yeah.
Hit him with the old...
It was... Go on, you go.
No, go on.
No, stop him.
So he was... Yeah, exactly. So it was Peebo first, I think, and it was when you find a good thing, stick to it. And then he crossed the aisle, do you remember? And I think it must have been the Mortine ad.
Nah.
And the tagline was, when you find a better thing, switch to it.
That was Lawsy.
Yeah.
That was Lawsy. I'm going to correct you. It was
okay, sorry, my apologies.
It was John Laws.
Okay.
Who was a great ambassador for Mortine for many like just like Valvoline.
Yes.
Mortine dropped him, and Peebo said, "Well, would you like to come across?" And so that's when they came up with the idea: when you find a better thing, switch to it, because Lawsy was so well known for Mortine. So I hate to. I don't. No,
I'm glad you did, mate. I'm glad you did. I had Ross Higgins in my head, but I'm getting old, so thank you.
And then there was that fantastic Triple M ad in the early 80s. And remember the ad? Could have been Colgate. This man's a dentist, so we can't show you his face.
Rob. Yes. That was Rob.
Yeah,
Oral B.
It's Rob.
Yeah.
See, my dad said the only good ad is when you move product and remember the product's name. I couldn't remember the product's name.
Exactly.
But this man's Rob. Meet Rob. He's a dentist. So Triple M, this man's Doug. He's not a dentist, so we can show you his face. But we'd rather not.
No.
Do you reckon the big push behind these TV ads and jingles has died because no one watches commercial television anymore?
I reckon. Commercial television's in all sorts of trouble.
It's dead. Yeah, it's dead. You get your news off the internet and your entertainment off the streaming services. No one watches commercial television anymore.
I got to say though, when I'm here at Mum and Luke's house, Mum loves watching like the game shows on TV, like Tipping Point and things like that. Yeah. And I feel like I've had like a newfound love for these games because I'm like, they're so like. Yeah. I don't know.
You get invested.
Yeah, but like you don't get that on like.
And there's the goodies and the baddies and the protagonists and the people you love. And of course, Australia, without a doubt, Australia's greatest quiz show champion was Barry Jones.
Yes.
Who was not the pick a box, Bob and Dolly Dyer. And one of the regular prizes was a full of a watch. Anyway. And
Sale of the Century, you can't go past mentioning Sale of the Century. That was surely the preeminent game show of its time, right? Yeah.
Delvine Delaney.
Pick of the board, who else?
Delvine. Delvine was my first crush.
But you're right. Game shows started with Jack Davey on 2GB in the 50s called the Quiz Kids. And people at home could play. And then Bob Dyer, who unlike Jack, transitioned from radio to television brilliantly. Jack Davey didn't. But Bob Dyer did and turned it into TV. And then you had Hector Crawford and Reg Grundy really taking these game shows to a new stratosphere. Anyway,
Now, Brett here says, I'm offended. All I do is watch commercial TV and listen to AM radio. I'm the oldest 35-year-old out there.
Yes, you are.
I reckon he would be, Brett.
Who is it?
Brett.
You need serious counselling.
Brett probably wears a nightshirt too.
Oh no! Do not encourage people wearing nightshirts. It is.
I think I want to see a Luke Boner branded nightshirt. I think a line of merchandise.
Tried that.
I'm all about merch, and the nightshirt would be it.
We tried that on Triple M because the show was called The Night Shift, and we were going to have the night shirt with the R crossed out and an F put over the top. Oh no, the F crossed out and an R. And we were going to call it the night shirt, and we were going to give it away. We had plans, and then
you got punted.
I got punted.
You give it away, they'd send it back.
Second prize was 2 night shirts.
Exactly.
Bryce here says, sorry, Tipping Point is like backwards Temu pokies, which is kind of true.
that is the best description I've ever heard. That is perfect.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Backwards Temu pokies. That's perfect.
I can't stand it. It's like one of those games you play at the Easter show.
Yeah,
they've got the same game at like Time Zone. Those arcade stuff. They do. They have it there.
Tipping Point is weird, but I like the chaser.
I love the chaser.
I like the chaser.
I've just remembered The Price is Right with Ian Turpie, and now that's a whole other YouTube. I'm going to have to go down after we finish up here. That was great. The Price is Right, higher or lower.
I loved it. Was that the one with the alpine skier going up the hill?
Yes, that's exactly the one. That's
How
exactly
good was
it.
that?
Yes, that's exactly the one.
And come on down. Come on, it was John Deeks, who was the announcer. Come on down. These people need Valium. What?
Yeah. They'll jump around and shout in the crowds, and God knows what they hyped them up on because the crowds were bananas on The Price is Right.
But
I was super excited.
Barry Jones and Bob Dyer on Pickerbox, he was the carryover champion for months. He went on to become a Labor politician and then Minister for Science under Bob Hawke. So there you are.
Last one, that's the origin of the $64 question too, for those who don't know.
That's right. The
That's $64. That was the top level question on Pickerbox. And so when someone says that's the $64 question, that's what they're referring to.
And there was another great show before Sale of the Century, quiz show, and they always held these things, Adam, before the 6 o'clock news. It was
5:30 to 6. Yeah,
it was always
the lead up.
It was always the lead up to the news, always a game show, and it was called The Moneymakers, and it was hosted by Philip Brady, and my parents used to watch it religiously before Brian Henderson read the news on Channel 9, and years later I got to meet the great late Philip Brady. He was on 3AW. And with Bruce Mansfield, and they used to do a show called Remember When. It was a nighttime show. It rated its ass off. So I'm doing the overnight show on the Southern Cross Oz Stereo Network, which was 2UE, 3AW, 6PR, 4BC, and other network stations. And I did it from Melbourne for a couple of nights, and I got to meet Philip Brady and Bruce Mansfield. And if you go onto YouTube and type in Luke Boner, Philip Brady, Bruce Mansfield, it's on film, and you can see our chat. So I got to meet one of my heroes, and what a lovely, lovely bloke. Both of them, utter gentlemen and true professionals. True professionals. So cool. I was very, very lucky. So are we going to talk about some of the news stories of today?
Should we start the podcast?
Hey?
Should we start the podcast?
Did we start again?
No.
Yeah. We'll kick off now, okay?
I wanted to know what you thought of the $20 million advertising campaign, which is designed to instruct us all to save petrol. It's received a lot of pushback. I thought 20 million could have been better spent elsewhere. I'll just go on my rant, and then you guys put your hand up. Press your buzzer. Who wants to go first? But I thought 20 million could have been spent elsewhere, and that anyone that drives a combustion engine motor car is aware there's a crisis and knows how to drive frugally. We all know that. And Nikki said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, they spent $20 million to tell us to put more air in our tyres and to take our roof racks off. And she said, to take your roof. I didn't realise I said, less drag, I guess. She said, well, that's a good point. So who wants to go first? Is it a $20 million waste of money, or was it a good thing? Or does it add to the panic? Does it add to the panic?
Captain.
Okay, Scotty.
I think it adds to the panic. I think it's I'm sort of on the fence with this, because there are people out there that wouldn't realise, like you just said, the Minister for War and Finance, she didn't realise that if taking your roof racks off will lessen the drag, so therefore it's going to minimise your fuel consumption. But how much is it going to minimise your fuel consumption having a bloody roof rack? To spend $20 million to save 1.1 cent per litre or something like that. It is a bit ridiculous. Air in the tyres is any person who drives a car should know that you need correct air in your tyres. That's just a given. You wake up in the morning, you put pants on, you've got air in your tyres. It's ridiculous. I think it's a waste of money.
Scotty Phillips.
And just on that point, where's that $20 million go? How does it cost $20 million for an ad when you're giving people facts? I don't understand where these budgets get blow out like that.
Scotty.
I'm an optimist by nature, guys. I'm actually pretty positive generally, but I'm pretty cynical about our politicians. I suspect it was $20 million so that Albo can look like he was doing something. I think anything below that, you start with, okay, what was the ad designed to do? And I've got to say, and this is not anti-Labor, it's just an anti-politician. I suspect the $20 million was designed to do nothing more than tell everybody they were doing something about it. So when they were told, hey, prices are high, we don't like you, we're voting for someone else, They say, well, we tried to help you. We spent that money over there. So I am 99% sure that was the actual aim, despite whatever the stated aim is. In terms of the stuff, I think you're both right in terms of the stuff that people don't know. And I think there's something to that. I mean, there's a bigger societal conversation about, my grandfather built his own house, right? I sit at a desk all day and bash on some plastic keys. Put me in the middle of the bush I'm okay. I do okay in the bush, but put most people in the middle of the bush for 15 minutes and they've got nothing. We don't have a breadth of skills anymore. So I'm not surprised people don't know that roof racks cause drag or that air and tyres is important in terms of, you just put it in and once we talk about the service stations that were actually serviced once upon a time a few weeks ago, I'm sure most people don't check it between visits to the mechanic. So I don't think, I think it's worthwhile education in and of itself. It's a thing that people should know. So I think that's right. I don't believe for a second it's going to change anything. I think it does add to the panic. Frankly, it makes the government look like a laughing stock. And here's the thing, think about incentives, right? Investing in economics is the study of incentives. What's the incentive? A $20 million ad or the fact that I'm paying 50% more for my diesel? I mean, of course I'm going to do the thing. I'm not an idiot, right? To Adam's point, it's not going to save me much anyway. But also, I've got plenty of incentive, right? I don't need a government to say, by the way, you should save money on fuel. Like, no, whatever, Sherlock. Really? I should save money on fuel? That's a surprise because I was just going to throw the money away and, put it in a big pile and burn it otherwise. So I think it was a nonsense. It's a nonsense saving. It's a nonsense campaign for almost purely political reasons. There will be some positive spin-offs. Those things are worth it. Someone's going to have said, as you've already said, someone's going to be like, okay, we'll take the roof rack off. That's fine. It's good. There's an outcome for it. There's no harm in that. I just reckon the whole thing's a bit of a song and dance show.
They should.
I think the $20 million gets spent by, okay, let's have a meeting about doing this ad. I said, all right, before we have this meeting, can we just have a quick meeting about having that meeting? And it's that corporate that corporate role on like we've got to have a meeting about having the meeting because we've got a meeting next week. It's ridiculous. Like now that I actually have staff under me, I've only just realised that these things happen. Like I'll say, all right, we're going to have a marketing meeting. Okay, what we'll do, we'll have a quick chat about what we're going to have to chat about in the marketing meeting. I'm just like, let's just do the marketing meeting. Like it's ridiculous. And I think that's where this money gets spent.
I will say, Adam, I do suspect a lot of it's airtime as well, though, to be fair. I think some like a lot of mates do wake from those meetings. You're right. But I think a lot of the money is just going to be airtime and online buying the space, all things we just talked about. I suspect that's where most of the money goes, but I'm also absolutely sure the meeting about the meeting is a massive waste as well.
Yeah, and you're right. When creative people say let's come up with a slogan, a jingle, a marketing idea, a campaign, usually the room is full of people with ponytails and Porsches in the car park.
Exactly, like Teslas now.
But and now you've got public servants in there as well. It's a very very dangerous committee, of course.
And like you said earlier, Luke, that ad campaign was written in a cab. Like those brilliant campaigns, you can't sit in a boardroom and with 20 other dudes with man buns and work this out. It will come to you when it needs to. Like when you're sitting on the pooper, you're in a cab, whatever. That's when it's going to hit you. It's not going to hit you sitting in a room full of other dudes who are sitting on Facebook.
Now, I'm just going to check with the executive producer. How much time have we got? Have we got more news, or should we get into our competition? What do you want to do? Okay, well, there is something here that's causing... by the way, they should have spent an extra $1 million educating people that if they take their roof racks off, their tinny is going to scratch the roof of their car. That needed that needed explanation as well. I've told you before, what's a camel? A camel was a horse designed by a committee.
Yeah,
anyway,
I love that line.
Yeah. Something else that's gaining national debate, and it's typical Pauline Hanson, but does she have a point? And the question I'm asking, is this just Pauline Hanson continuing her narrative on immigration, or does she have a legitimate point when she says we need tighter restrictions on foreign nationals accessing Australian housing support schemes? She says that foreigners who are not Australian citizens should not be buying Australian homes. Now, before you guys jump in, just let me tell you that there are plenty of countries where that's the case, including Canada, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Belarus, China, the Philippines, Thailand, Mexico, Switzerland, India. So there are plenty of countries where that's the policy. We are in the middle of a housing crisis. Now, from a selfish point of view, my house is my super, and when it comes to selling, I want as many auction paddles in my driveway up in the air as physically possible. I do not want to restrict the amount of people that can possibly bid for my house. That is me being selfish. So the millennial will have a lot to say here, but who wants to go first on this? Does Pauline Hanson have a point?
You go first, Adam?
And just bear in mind, she's also talking about the 5% deposit scheme that the government released, which added fuel to the housing crisis because it meant more people were on the market, and we still had a very, very drastic supply problem. So more people were eligible to buy homes, but there weren't more homes, which put the existing homes up even further. And Scotty Phillips and Shane Oliver and every other economist I spoke to warned that would happen. Anyway, but does she have a point, Adam?
Just my view on this whole bloody housing crisis is absolute horseshit. The amount of unoccupied real estate in capital cities is ridiculous, and it's owned by the upper echelon of society. And I spoke about it the other week. I was driving through the inner west of Sydney through New Canterbury Road, and I counted maybe 30 unoccupied shop fronts and residents upstairs in the space of 2 kilometres. And these places are just sitting idle, they're sitting empty, and you've got all these people living on the streets. But these people who own these properties, they don't need the money. They just said, I don't care. It's empty, whatever. There's no housing crisis. The crisis is not the housing. The crisis is the people who own these bloody houses.
Scotty, jump in.
So the 5% deposit was ridiculous. We've said so before, and I'll absolutely support Pauline Hanson on that one. What worries me with the foreign nationals thing, mate, is the politics rather than the policy. Back to kind of the $20 million waste. So who are the foreign nationals? Is it foreigners living overseas, staying overseas? Is it foreign nationals living in Australia? Is it temporary or permanent residents? Is it dual citizens? You got to kind of break this down, right? Because purely economically, and Adam's right about the vacant houses, by the way. Think about the Australian housing market. There's a certain number of homes, dwellings, and there's a certain number of families. And whether you ban a foreigner, whether it's she's saying a permanent resident who happens to be a foreigner, okay, well, they've got to live somewhere. So they're not buying, they're renting. And if they're not renting, they're buying. There's no more or fewer homes. If she wants to about total population, and she does, because we know Pauline, then that's fair. But whether the foreigner owns the home or doesn't relieve any pressure at all on the housing market. If you have 11 families and 10 houses, whether they're renting or buying, you've got a housing crisis. If you've got 9 families and 10 houses, whether they're renting or buying, you've got no housing crisis. It's not that hard economically. And so what worries me a little bit is there are people out there who have answers looking for questions. And I'm going to put Pauline in that category, and people can at me, feel free. I got plenty on social media. Deal with the policy issue. So we know from the ATO data, last year, I think it was last financial year, might have been the one before, I don't know if they've released the new data. The number of homes bought by foreigners living overseas, buying properties in Australia, but living overseas, was in the single-digit thousands. Now, would I stop it? Yes, because we've got a housing crisis, right? So it's all oars in the water, all hands to the pump. Choose your metaphor, right? Yes, because we might as well, because it's just adding fuel to the fire. Is it even close to the major issue? Absolutely freaking not. So let's not pretend that saying those bloody foreigners buying our homes, those bastards, if we get rid of them, we'd solve our problems. It is a nonsense. Now, Pauline either knows that and doesn't care, or doesn't know that and should know that, and either is fine. I'm not going to slander Pauline Hanson, but what I am saying is be very careful about what we think we're solving here. Are we actually solving for the housing crisis? If that's the case, let's talk about supply and demand. When it's not the case, then we can blame the foreigners and we can blame the others that we always tend to blame because it gets us some votes. We hear the Australian values kind of thing carry on at the moment from Matt Canavan and Angus Taylor. That's purely political as well. So let's break it down really to actually what matters. Sometimes we kind of instinctively feel like a thing, and it's easy to kind of go, I feel really unhappy and that guy over there is doing a thing to me. Or he wasn't here last time, maybe he's the problem. Or if we did this, it'd solve it. I'm absolutely for evidence-based solutions, not for knee-jerk, I just think solutions, or that person over there is different to me and I don't like different people. We can have those conversations, and that's reasonable to have. I have not a lot of time for it, but I have a bit of time for it. But the housing issue is here's the maths, look, and it's really, really simple. We all have to talk about this directly when we talk just the economic stuff. Household formation is the economist term for the number of people who want to live together in a house or a unit, right? Household formation.
Right.
Families, students sharing, whatever those things are, the number of households we have and the number of dwellings that we have. And those two things should be roughly the same, right? If you've got too many dwellings, you've got empty houses everywhere, Adam's point. If you've got too few dwellings, you've got people not able to find a house, they're in tents under bridges. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is a smokescreen. I would change negative gearing, I'd change capital gains tax for reasons we can talk about, we have talked about before, but that's going to have a very, very tiny impact. Foreign buyers, an even smaller impact, like just really, really, really stupidly tiny. What worries me with the pollies at the moment is they say, I'm doing a thing. We've got a problem. We all agree there's a problem. Yes, we all agree. I'm going to do something about it. Oh, great. Okay, at least you're doing something. So no, you're doing the very, very least possible, like the 5% deposit guarantee, rather than actually saying how many households, how many houses or dwellings, houses and units, if that number doesn't match up, house prices go up to unrealistic levels.
Okay.
So it's a really, really, really simple solution. In the short term, it's demand, because you can't build a house tomorrow. You can start tomorrow, but it's going to be built in 2 years' time. Demand in the short term, demand and supply in the long term. It's the only thing that matters. Everything else is just politics or diversion or prejudice, frankly.
Let me throw something in. And we are running out of time, and I want to play the commercial quickie game. But Kelsey is a new homeowner, and God bless her. And she has a good head on her shoulders, so too does her man. And they don't live beyond their means. Mm-hmm. And they've bitten off and they're chewing like crazy. But the product that they've bought is going to go up in value. It's a great investment. However, Kelsey hates negative gearing, and I'll let you jump in a second. Now, just for some history, and Scotty, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the Conservative government of Lions. It was after the Depression, 1936, and it was the Lions Conservative government that introduced negative gearing, and it was to encourage housing investment and to boost supply during the Great Depression, and it has stuck around. Now, Kelsey hates it, and you just mentioned it. Kelsey, you hate negative gearing. You think it's immoral.
Well, I don't know if it's immoral, but I think it served its purpose and now it's doing a disservice to young people trying to get into the housing market, because if there's incentives for people to have more investments, then of course they're going to take it, and unfortunately the people that can afford investments are the people that are already well established, have, a property that they can, take a mortgage out. There's the people that are using this to their advantage are people that honestly do not need the advantage anymore.
Scotty?
Yep, she's right, 100% right.
Okay.
So 1936 it was introduced. No, I'll be really quick, Luke, because I know we want to get on with it. Introduced in 36. It makes logical sense, right? You can deduct your costs against your income. That's what every business does ever. It's how profit is determined, and they pay tax on profit. So it makes perfect sense theoretically. Once it stops, to Kelsey's point, becomes a problem rather than a solution, then you've got to stop and say, hey, what's going on? Here's the thing. Housing is shelter first, second, third, fourth, and 10th. 11th, it can be an investment if we want to make it an investment. And there are people who want to rent. Kelsey would have rented before she bought. I've rented. I'm sure we've all rented when we left home, and our, we need rental stock. So I'm not against landlords. I'm not against investing in property. I don't think at this point we need to incentivize investment over and above. Because remember, here's the other thing. People say, well, people want to invest that. People want to be landlords. It's like, that's fine. The house doesn't go away. If the landlord sells, an owner-occupier buys, and vice versa. So there is no. If every investor left the market tomorrow, the renters would buy. I mean, some people can't. You need some renting, you need some social housing, blah blah blah. But yeah, Kelsey's 100% right. It is not a value judgment. I would not make a value judgment on the people involved in it. But as a policy, we no longer need it. We know it's no longer serving its purpose, and it's pushing prices higher than otherwise would be. Last point, for all of that, Kelsey, I agree with you. It'd probably have a 5 or 6 or 7% impact on prices, which is welcome. But we're paying 11, 12 times incomes for housing right now. 40 years ago, it was 4 times. So if that 11 times comes down to 10 times, that's great. But we're still miles away from where we should be. So yes, it's a massive part of it. We should fix it. We should fix capital gains tax. It's just supply and demand, where we have population growing faster than the housing stock. It kind of is just that simple.
Well explained, and he agrees with you, Kelsey. You should have majored in economics instead of this journalism thing that you did. Okay, we're going to play some music. This is called Segway music.
Yes.
And we are going to come back
and
we're going to play the commercial quickie.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Welcome to a show called The Man Cave. Man Cave. With Boner on the mic, it's a good day. Good day. Adam McDonald and Kearsley too. Thomas behind the scenes, producing all the goods. Have a good time on a Friday. Friday. Or anytime you tune in anyway. Anyway. The Bonafide podcast has all you need. You can play any episode to get you through the week. Special guests here and there, grab a bit of belly and pull up a chair. They'll give you something to think about. Listen on Spotify, comment on their Facebook Live, and don't forget on YouTube you can always subscribe. Have a good laugh on the Man Cave. We'll have a good time and a good day. Good day. Everybody else is having their say. You can tune in and listen anyway.
Okay, it's time for the Bonafide commercial quickie. That is our budget on special effects. No,
That's your $20 million.
I possibly overpaid too quietly. Look.
no wonder we don't have merchandise.
I was telling you, you can sell at least 3 of them.
You love that jingle, by the way.
I do love the jingle. It's very catchy.
Okay, you both have submitted a classic commercial jingle or ad. I have no idea what you have submitted, and you don't know what I'm about to submit. So what we're going to do is, who's going first, Kelsey? You're in charge.
No, I'm going to start a presentation.
Oh.
You're all...
Oh.
Look out, shots fired.
Jeez.
You're all going to, I guess, kind of like guess at the same time.
Right.
Oh.
So this is your submission.
Well, I guess so, kind of.
Okay, by the way, if you want to have a guess, 0291289311, and you will...
Come on down.
we need an Adam and Scotty Phillips Brule Cream product. Do you remember that? I came back to Brule Cream. Remember that?
Mate, for me to be Vaseline, it's all I need. It's not going to Brooklyn is not going to help me.
Well, you actually, Mr. Sheen.
Hey, hang on. That commercial Quickie logo,
Yeah.
what is with that wrestling outfit?
That's what you...
Did I sign off on that?
Well, thankfully you don't need to.
Wow,
That explained you were a wrestler. You were a wrestler, fancy dress, Halloween. What was it?
No, it was for my birthday. The Mexican wrestling came out to Sydney, so we went dressed as wrestlers, and I got the whole night was given to me for free because they literally thought I was the next one in the ring. I'd go up to the bar and say I need 4 gin and tonics because I'm about to get in the ring, and they go, "Yes, sweet, no worries, here you go on the house."
Oh my God! All right, let's do it.
So do you like it? So do you like it in the ring?
Middle go, Kelsey.
Okay, Kelsey, play it. What have you got? We're
All right.
ready.
Sound number 1.
Buzzers. Oh,
Okay, I'll play it again. Ready? Can you hear that?
no idea. Yeah, can hear it.
If you want to have a crack at it, quickly give us a call, 0291289311.
I got nothing either.
So who submitted this?
This is one from me.
Okay. do
One
it
more time, Kelsey.
One more time.
Ready?
13. It's a 13. It's a phone number.
Oh.
It's a phone number jingle. Pizza
Yes.
Hut.
139906.
70.
What was that?
It's a
Is
phone
it the reading
number.
writing hotline? Is it the reading writing?
Hey!
There we go.
Here is some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading.
That one.
Okay, play the ad.
I think it's here.
Call the Reading Writing Hotline, 1300 65506.
1300 65506.
Classic.
Yeah, we got that one. Classic.
Well, teamwork. Well done, guys.
Well done. Okay. Now,
Next
I
one.
need to call that.
whose submission is next?
I don't know. They're random.
But Adam and Scotty have sent them in.
I know, so they're going to have to try and guess their own ones.
Well, if I know it's mine, I'm not going to have a shot at it. Put it that way.
That's fair.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Adam, Scotty, you got your buzzer ready?
Yeah, everybody ready? Here we go.
Okay, next one.
Time
Ready?
starts.
Okay.
Oh, it's a bit long. That wasn't a quickie. That was a longie.
Yeah. Luke wanted me to give you guys 5 seconds, and I was like, absolutely not.
Way too much.
Ready?
Sure,
I'm going to
you
play
get
it
that.
again.
You do it again. knock, sound effects, knock. So this is yours, Adam, is it?
Yeah, this is mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
Scotty, it's up to you and me. I heard the word knock. I heard sound effects. Nah, I'm
Knock.
Scotty?
Not knocking Kirby's, is it?
bring your money with you. Do you remember that, Scotty?
Yeah.
You wouldn't remember, Adam. Knock and Kirby's featured this guy called Joe the Gadget Man.
Yes, he was. That's right. I thought he was his name.
And Joe he was Pommy. And he was a great TV salesman. And in fact, he had his own show on Channel 9 called Joe the Gadget Man, and it came on before the wrestling. And
that's brilliant.
Which was hosted by Mike Cleary, live from the Horton Pavilion. Anyway, Joe the Gadget Man, and it was sponsored. It was an advertorial show that went for an hour where he would show you the latest gadgets, like potato peelers.
Yeah.
And
Demtel before its time.
And it was Demtel. It was Tim Shaw before.
But wait, there's more.
I don't think he had steak knives, but he might have.
No.
Anyway, he was this great salesman, like one of those old-fashioned outdoor spruikers outside a shop. And he would demonstrate the stuff on the telly, and he was Joe the Gadget Man, and he was the spokesperson for Knock and Kirby.
Knock and Kirby.
Knock and Kirby.
All right, are you ready?
Back to the ad.
Back to the ad.
And his catch cry, you remember the catch cry, Scotty?
I will when you say it, but I can't bring it to mind, no.
And bring your money with you.
Okay, next one. Okay, let's see what the answer is.
Ah!
Now pay attention, Smythe. Write down these notes.
Yeah, great ad.
Well done, Adam McDonald.
There you go.
You have
Very well done, sir.
You have won that round, and you've won it with a brilliant ad. Can you answer that phone, please? Okay. All right. Is it my one now? Or
I don't know. I didn't put names to
is
it.
my one here? Or no, that's the other thing.
That's the other thing. Okay, next sound.
Doors plus.
No fuss. Do.
Play it.
Doors Plus, we can fit, stain, and deliver.
Very good.
Great jingle.
And there was a shampoo ad, Duke of Duke of remember Decorate.
Yeah. As I shampoo my hair, I really love my Decorate.
Can I just tell you this,
That
Adam?
would have been a while ago.
They won't ask you to do the ad, Scott.
No, that's right.
Okay, so we got that one.
Terrible cream, all I got now.
Okay.
All right, next one.
Oh, dear.
No.
Any guesses? Any guesses in the comments of what that could be?
Da-na-na.
One more time.
Can I give you a clue?
It sounds like a TV theme, but it's not, obviously.
It does. It sounds like it sounds like that. I know.
It is.
Wait.
Okay.
The clue is it was Mojo, but I think before they were Mojo. It was either Alan Morris or Alan Johnson, one of them, and you'll recognise the voice. One more time.
One more time.
No, I can't get there.
No.
It is.
Let's hear the whole ad. Listen to this.
Every day there's so much to do. City living catches up with you. You gotta work and sleep and socialize too. No time to think in this human zoo. Weekends up and you shine the car. Listen to the radio, your favorite pop star. Must escape from the sheep in the street. Bye-bye, find someone you like and hit the town. Hey babe, it's a beautiful day. Fill up the tank and we're on our way. But we gotta look out for this escape machine. So we go for the petrol that's nice and clean.
That is enough.
I don't know that one, Luke, but I like it.
So you can hear it's early Mojo.
Next sound. Ready for this? Ready.
Lily's pounding.
That's easy.
What is it?
Come on, Aussie, come on.
Oh.
They've been
He's pounding down like a machine. That's great.
Hang on.
That's pure mojo. Go on.
What was it advertising?
World Series cricket.
World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, Kerry Packer. And there's a story. That was Mojo, but the brainchild was John Cornell, who played Paul Hogan's Strop.
Right.
And John Cornell was an advertising genius, Delvine Delaney's husband. We just talked about Delvine Delaney. And Kerry Packer had the World Series cricket and it's flopping everywhere. And he has spent a fortune. His shareholders and his board are saying, he didn't have share. His board are saying, Kerry, your dad would be turning in his grave, the money you're spending on this. And so John Cornell went to Mojo, which is Alan Mo Morris and Alan Joe Johnson. And they said, we don't just need a jingle, we need an anthem. This jingle not only sold World Series cricket, it introduced the Australian television public to the players. It involved the players. It showed you their faces. The jingle became a #1 hit on the national charts. So this jingle was a solo hit that dominated the charts. And 2SM had it on high rotation in breakfast. And Kerry Packer couldn't believe it. They're playing the ad for my cricket on the top 40. And it told the story. You've been training all the winter and there's not a team that's fitter. And that's the way it's got to be. Because you're up against the best you know. This is super test you know. And you've got to beat the best the world has seen.
All right, okay, that's enough.
Legally pounds.
You've
Go
been
on.
training all the winter, and there's not a team that's fitter, and that's the way it's gotta be. Because you're up against the best you know. This is super test you know. And you've got to beat the best the world has seen.
This is the players.
Yeah.
Lily's pounding down like a machine.
The style back then
Pascal's
was
making
so
divots
good.
in the green. Marsh is taking wickets. Hooks he's clearing pickets. And the Chapel's eyes have got that killer gleam. Mr. Walker's playing havoc with the bats.
Okay, that's enough.
Fred Bath, it's good to see you back.
Okay, that's enough. Sound 6, ready for this?
And Gilmore's
Luke,
Rolling Willow like
Stop
an
it.
axe.
Stop it. Okay, ready?
Go again.
Oh, shit.
Oh, there it is.
I gave it away.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I don't think Luke saw it. Luke, can you get it?
I wouldn't have got that.
It is.
Well, today could be the one. There's another race to run. But if you're gonna make it, there's just no way to fake it. You've gotta be made up.
Now you've got to win with Milo. Instant windsurfers.
That's a good one.
That's a really good ad. And, of course, today it wouldn't stand up because you'd have the do-gooder saying, why was that dog off a lead? So now they'd have him chased by a magpie.
Yeah. All right, next.
That'll do it.
Next sound. Otherwise, Luke will be stuck here all day. Okay.
Yeah.
481.
48111. Pizza Hut delivery.
Good job.
Change to 9481111 after we went to 8 numbers.
Tony.
4811111. 4811111. 4811111. Pizza Hut delivery. 4811111. 4811111. 4811111. Pizza Hut delivery.
Pizza Hut.
And isn't it funny? They don't show the product. An empty box. You don't see the box opening with the cheese and the steam. It is all about the jingle when food outlets concentrated on home delivery, which incidentally coincided with the invention of the home video. And when people took movies home delivery completely took off.
Yeah, of course.
All right, next sound.
Hello.
Frank Walker from National Tiles.
National Tiles.
That's too easy.
That's very good.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles.
And you know what? He makes fun of himself. That's his shtick, and he sells a shitload of tiles.
And that's advertised, right? You know, everyone, it's Willow Winston with a Y. You know when you hear that voice.
Yeah.
Everyone in their head go, hello. We all go, Frank Walker from National Tiles. The brand's in it. The bloke's in it. He's made an icon of himself and made a, when you think tiles, who do you think? You think National Tiles.
Oh, this has been fun.
There's one more sound.
Okay.
All right.
One more sound. Oh, I gave it away. I don't think Luke saw it because he's
I'll
blind.
back to PowerPoint school after this.
Are you listening,
Play
Luke?
more. Play more. Play more.
No, I've got nothing.
The birds and the bees and the cows.
We're moving and lying and whistling and neighing, having lunch in the sun. While Hugo and I were having none in the back seat, we sat getting thinner.
It's not really.
The rumblings cry, give us Kentucky Fried. Time for dinner. So Dad, stop the car.
And Hugo said, you
Okay,
go.
that's enough.
And I said, no, you go. And soon he was back with the pack.
Okay, that's
and we
enough.
sat in the back. And then Dad hit the track. And we were feeling
that's enough.
better inside. A drive isn't funny. with it.
Luke, that's enough.
Someone stop him.
Okay.
Brilliant.
All right.
Enough.
Guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Jeez, I've had some fun on the Man Cave today. That's what it's
Me too,
all
that was
about.
awesome.
I got a story. I got a great story to finish with
Go on.
before we say goodbye. You may have heard this story, but this is the story about a musician and a song that has more conspiracy theory surrounding it than the moon landing. And I just want to tell you a story. It's a story of a younger musician who was very talented, but whose musical career had really stalled, but had faith in himself. And he's just joined a new band, and he's borrowed a shitload of money to buy a country cottage estate of his dreams. And he's borrowed more money than he can afford. So he gets the money because the bank has faith in him, but he's struggling. He's about to go on tour of the United North America and Canada. And this house needs massive renovations, including painting. The whole thing needed painting. So he's overseas, he's touring, and the receipts are going well. He looks like he'll pay his mortgage. But he gets a phone call from his wife, and he's moved his family into this country estate. It's more than he can afford, and his wife says, I've got to talk to you. He said, what? This is a true story. And she says, we're breaking up. I'm having an affair. And he said, who with? And you won't believe it. She was having an affair with the painting contractor that was painting the house. He stalls the tour, goes back home to talk to her, cannot repair the marriage, continues the tour. Finally gets back, house is empty, he's all alone in this house, and she's gone. And he's devastated. Starts drinking, doesn't know what to do. Goes upstairs to what was going to be the main bedroom. It's completely empty, and he thinks, this is going to be my studio. And he's on the drink, and he's sitting on the floor, and he finds an invoice from the painter that his wife has left him for. On that invoice, he penned, is it this one here?
The top one? No. Yes.
On the back of the invoice, the painter's invoice, he penned this song.
No.
Have we got the whole song?
No, I thought you just wanted the drum roll. Everyone knows the song, though.
In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins. That song was written on the invoice that the painter left behind. Now, there's talk about him witnessing a drowning of someone, a murder, that I knew what you were doing last night, all of that. Apparently, that's the real song. His wife had left him, and he wrote that. So there you are.
There you are. Luke, do you have a thought of the day?
Cool story.
That's it.
Oh, okay. That's the thought of the day. Fantastic.
Adam, we were going to ambush you today. Trevor Long is very excited about Arcticus 2 and its trip around the moon and back, and the photos that they took on an Apple phone. Now, the phone that they took it on, there were only 3 made, but you watch, Apple will go bananas with it. But he was going to ambush you today because he believes the lunar landing in 1969 did happen. Trevor has actually been to the Johnson Space Center in Houston and seen it all, and he was going to ring up today to talk to you about it, but we might do it next week.
Oh, I muted him. Lol.
I'll be ready for that.
Them's fighting words. I'll be ready.
And the thing that really annoys me is Trevor Long has actually met face-to-face Bud Aldrin.
Yeah.
And he's got a photo of it, and he showed it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
That's right. I met Santa Claus at the local shopping mall last Christmas. Like, I don't give a shit.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a fascinating man cave next week if we get Trevor Long on. Dr. Carl Krasanicki stripped shreds off him. Adam then jumped back because at Evans Hastings they had the lunar slides. He said, "No, I believe it happened now." 1 week later, he doesn't believe again.
No, because I get excited when I see these rare things, but then I sort of step back, and being a logical man, it just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. It didn't happen. You know, it's like everything. Like,
Adam,
anyway, let's go next week, Trev.
Your credibility has just gone absolutely Drano today.
Well, there wasn't much to go. There wasn't much to do.
What have you got coming? What do you got coming up, Adam McDonald, Evans Hastings?
Evans Hastings, we have a good sports memorabilia sale up online at the moment. There's some good jerseys, or some supporter packs, all that sort of stuff. But the biggest thing is May the 4th. Keep your eyes out for the May the 4th sale. A wonderful collection of genuine Star Wars memorabilia. It'll be hitting the airwaves. No, it'll be closing on May the 4th. So it'll go up on the week before. So all you Star Wars fans, keep your eye out for that.
Scotty Phillips from the Motley Fool, financial advice expert. Thank you so much. How do we find you, brother?
Mate, jump on fool.com.au. Thanks, Luke. I'm on all the socials, TMF Scott P on Twitter and Insta, and Scott Phillips Money on Facebook.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Millennial. That's a man cave.
Well done.
Under wrap. Thank you so much. Scotty Phillips, Adam McDonald, yibbity, yibbity, yibbita.
And that's all, folks.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 99. 100 is just around the corner. Big celebration. What have we got planned? Bugger all.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just be compelling. It'll be lean forward stuff. Something for everyone where I don't tell you what to think. I just like to give you something to think about.
No thought of the day?
Oh, behind every great woman, behind every great man, there is a great woman rolling her eyes.
Yes, I agree.